NDTM-Y, an acronym. Please welcome Ray Miller.
Well, hello there. My name is Ray Miller, and this podcast is NDTM-Y. Why is it NDTMY? Well, I am a Toastmaster, and I am not a DTM yet. This podcast is about exploring Toastmasters experience, my Toastmasters experience, by interviewing members who I come into contact with, who have interesting stories and interesting experience that they just don't get the chance to explore very loudly. Today, I will share some of the inspiration behind why I'm exploring the podcast medium within Toastmasters. First, this episode of NDTMY is brought to you by the Podmasters Toastmasters Club, a new club on the verge of chartering with a focus on developing podcasters within Toastmasters. Podmasters meets twice a month on Sunday afternoons. Details can be made available for anyone interested in participating. Now, the idea behind this episode and this podcast was inspired by Pathways releasing an effective to create a podcast, part of their level 4 electives, and I'll eventually work up to that in future as I develop this more. That idea inspired me in 2018. I actually recorded my first episode of it, but I haven't done anything with it in 2019. And this is the first time I have given this idea a voice. It has languished in silence since then. Right now, though, while I was working on what I was going to say about this, I was reminded of a story, and it's in the introduction to The Art of War. If anybody here actually read The Art of War or heard any of the stories from The Art of War? Let me see what I can see here. I don't see any hands, but that's okay. Well, I see one hand, but that's Reza, and he's a timer. So the story was in the introduction to The Art of War. And according to this old story, a lord of ancient China asked a physician, a family member of healers, which of them was the most skilled in the art. Now, this physician, whose reputation was such that his name had become synonymous with the medical systems in China, he replied, "My eldest brother can see the spirit of the sickness and remove it before it takes shape. So his name does not get out of the house. My elder brother cures the illness when it is still extremely minute, and his name does not leave the neighborhood. As for me, I puncture veins, I prescribe potions, I am a surgeon, and I massage the skin. So from time to time, my name gets out and is heard among the lords." The reason this story sits with me right now is because I know so many people within Toastmasters in the 10 years that I've been a member that fit with that first brother. They know exactly what they are doing. They can tell the story exactly the way they need to tell their story, but they only tell it within the confines of their club. Their story is never heard outside of their club. Their skills are never heard outside of their club. And that makes me think of a word, languish. How many skills, how many chances do we have to share what it is that we know? But we don't take the step to share it with anybody else. So that is my inspiration behind this podcast, is because I want to talk to Toastmasters. I want to talk to people who I have come into contact with from clubs, from divisions, from areas, from contests, who have these great stories, but they don't let it share beyond the moment, beyond the meeting. I want to help them develop it. So that is my idea for podcasts. Now, my inspiration behind this has been languishing since 2018. I did an interview for it, and it's kind of sitting in the background. And tomorrow, I'm going to actually be doing my first interview for it that will be published as a part of the Podmasters Club. But my idea, my challenge to you, but mostly to me, is to find the genius in the people around me, to let their voices get volume, to be able to share what skills, to be able to share what experience they have available to them in this new medium, which is new to me, but experience for many people around, to see if I can make a difference. That's my goal with this podcast. Back to you, Madam Chair.